Hi guys, it's Ellie here with Collins & Co Crafts, and I'm back with another tutorial for you today for this gorgeous box. I'm very impressed with this. I was just playing around with my sponge daubers and doing some emboss resist and came up with this little pattern. So today I'm going to show you how I made this box, main focus being on the background layer. And this is for the Poodles design team, and this is the last week. And so this month's stamp set that we've been showcasing is the Crafting Forever stamp set. And so this one I'm using the little, I forgot what it's called. I'll remember that later. I want to say bauble because I'm in the Christmas spirit, but it's not a bauble. I don't know where I got bauble from. But anyway, moving on. Let's have a look what's inside. So, I'm going to take the ribbon off and slip the lid off, and inside I have put everything that I'm going to use to make the top. So we've got the embossing buddy, my clear embossing paste, powder, and some Versamark ink. And so I thought this was a really cute idea and a cute way to showcase the technique by using it to make the box and to put everything in it. So I'm not even going to attempt to try that on camera because I've got to do one coming up. So if you want to stay with me, and we'll show you how to make it. So I'll move them off to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I basically made everything, including the layers. So you're going to start off with 2 A4 sheets of Whisper White cardstock, and we're going to cut them down to 8 inches squared. So let's do that first. Pull my arm out, Ellie. There we go. It's a bobbin. It just came to me. The word is bobbin. I know I'd remember it. So paper lined up at the 8-inch mark on the long side, and there is a reason for this. So I'm going to score that, and you need to keep at least one of the cut-offs from your A4, unless you've got some spare white cardstock knocking about. And pop that in, and again, just cutting off a tiny little piece on that side. We'll swap and do the next piece. There we go. So yeah, you will end up with 2. You only do need 1 piece for one of the layers, but it's a good decent sized offcut to keep handy. There we are. So let's move that off to the side. And I'm now going to bring in my, oh no I'm not, I need it back. I don't know what I'm doing today. I've got those 2. And then I'm using the Daffodil Delights, so from the Bright collection, to do the layer that goes around the emboss resist technique that we're going to do. So this layer needs to be 3 3/4 in both directions. So 3 3/4, and I'm going to go down to about 9.5 that side, so I know I'm going to have enough. Yeah, 3 3/4. There we are. So there is my layer. And then this layer, while we've got the stamping cutting board, is 3.5 squared. There we go, perfect. There we are. Let me clean up my area so we can bring in the scoreboard. So we don't need that layer or that layer, they can disappear. We need to keep those 2 together and those 2, and we're going to pop them off to the side for a second. We're just going to start with the emboss resist. I'm just going to bring in a scrap bit of grid paper. Oh. And you can see the mess I already did earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Versamark embossing buddy, that, and we're going to use the bobbin, is the word I'm looking for, and there's the stamp from earlier as well. So pop that on my block. There we are. So I'm going to take my embossing buddy and just cover that all over. Put that away. I'm going to take my Versamark ink and we're going to make it nice and juicy. And the way I found to do it, I didn't want a single one straight, so I've done some off to the side, like that, some upside down, some coming in from the other side, and just making sure that the majority of the paper is covered. And I think I will have just got my head in the shot there. Very silly of me. Let's go that way. And the last one, I think. No, I'm happy with that. I'm actually happy with that. I'm going to stop there. Move that off to the side. Just going to grab my Stampin' scrub. My freshly cleaned Stampin' scrub. Nice and clean. Pop that off. And clean my book. I thought I got some all over the edge of that one. Lovely. Okay. Next we're going to come in with the embossing powder, and this is the clear embossing powder that I'm using. So sprinkle a generous layer over the top, grab the corners, give it a shimmy, make sure every bit's covered, and you can, I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera. Can you? I think you can. Just going to give that a nice tap. And there's no little bits, just the bits where I've just been holding it with my fingers, so we'll set that off to the side. While I grab all of the bits in. Pour that back into my pot. There we go. Pop the lid back on. Nice and tight. And then I am going to mute this, but I'm putting my heat tool on now, so anyone with headphones, I'm going to fast forward it anyway, but make sure when you pop your heat tool on, you get it nice and hot, and you should be good to go. I think I've got it all. Yeah, perfect. So we're just gonna, that's okay, it'll get covered. We're just gonna set it off to the side just to cool down for a little bit while we actually now crack on with making the actual box. So I'm gonna start with our 2 sheets of cardstock, which are 8 inches square. And grab my Simply scoreboard and wand underneath. So this first one we are going to score, making sure you can actually see the scoreboard, at 2 inches on all 4 sides. You can do it at 2 and 6, but for my own peace of mind I'm just going to score it at 2. So that one is now our bottom piece. This one is the top. So I know a lot of people when they do boxes they'll make a shim that runs along the edge here. I just find it's easier if I put my paper up against both edges and then just pull it out a little bit. That just, it seems to work for me. And again, scoring at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So into the corner, pulling it out, and you can just see that little gap there that it's created. And making sure that while I'm doing this, while I'm pulling it out, this is still straight against the top. And then this way, that little gap that we've given will give us a nice tight fit over the box, but it won't be exactly the same size, so that they'll actually fit together. So remembering that's my top and this is my bottom. Where is my bone fold? That's my, oh dear, oh it's there, it's hiding behind my scissors. So taking the bottom one, we're just going to simply burnish all our score lines. And if you are unsure about which one is the top and bottom, if you line them up, I can't show you now because I've scored it, let's give it a go. If you line them up, you'll be able to see that they don't line up, and this one is longer, it's close to the edge, so that's why it's your top. So that's that one. Let's do the top one now. There we are. And last one. Perfect. So now I'm going to take paper snips and throw the cover on the floor. This is the bottom, so I'm going to just snip up the inner score line, if you like, to keep it as that as my straight edge. And we'll go up to that cross, and we're going to rotate on all 4 sides like a little windmill effect. That wasn't straight at all, Ellie. Okay, then all I'm going to do is come back in, make the little end shorter, and just miter up to the corner. So I'll show you that again. I'm going to cut the edge off of the small tab, and then on the long side I'm going to cut up to where that score line is. And then that way, when we assemble our box, you won't have any uneven edges that you can see corners, and you'll see the difference if you don't do this. Perfect. So we'll get rid of those bits. And now for the top, exactly the same process. Cut up to that score line. Ooh. Learn to cut across, Ellie. And cut over. And do that on all 4 sides. And we'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so we're back. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bottom panel, flip that over, and with some fast fuse or any choice of your adhesive, I'm just going to run it along the tab. Oh, fold that bit over. And this is the outside, so that's your inside. The box is going to fold up. I'm gluing on the outside of the tab. Okay. So if you want to use the multi-purpose liquid glue to give you a bit more of a wiggle room if you're not so confident in lining your box up very easily, go ahead. So all 4, I've got some adhesive on now, and I'm going to start by creating my first corner. So the tab is going to come to the inside, and I'm just going to line up that corner to get a nice sharp corner, but line up the edge, sorry, not the corner. And the same again, tab on the inside, pull it up to that top edge and stick it down, and repeat that on all the other sides as well. There we are. Last one. Perfect. So there is the bottom of our box. Now the top, pop some adhesive on. Ooh. And like I said, don't panic about writing any of the measurements down or anything like that, because it will all be over on my blog, which will be linked in the description below. So now what I'm going to do is I've popped all the adhesive on the 4 tabs. I'm going to turn that over without sticking it to my paper, and I'm going to place my box inside. I'm then going to make my first corner like I would normally, and then I'm going to push my box up against that corner. Okay, then I'm going to bring all the tabs to line them up. Try and do this so you can see it without getting my head in, and then line that up as well. So now we have 2 corners. Okay, and you're going to just repeat that on the other 2, still keeping that box in place. So lining it up, making sure that the box still fits inside. The last one, you just need to tuck it in and lining it up. And so you've got 2 pieces the same. It doesn't quite meet up at the bottom, but I like that because it gives you the grip. But if you do want a bit more grip, which I have done on my other one, I've just taken the 1/2 inch circle punch, and then halfway, oh, not that much, halfway in the middle, I've just notched a bit out, covering it because they flung at me earlier. Perfect. And then that way, when you pop your lid back on, it's a nice snug fit, but then you've still got the finger holes where you can take it out. So now we'll set that off to the side, and we will do the fun part. Okay, so we're going to bring in the little bit that we stamped, okay? And I've got 3 little daubers that have gone everywhere apparently. And they are going to be, I'm going to be using Real Red, Again, all from the Brights collection. Pumpkin pie. And the last one to match our background, and I've knocked the camera over, Daffodil Delight. Oh. So let's move these out of the way. And they look very similar, so I like to make sure I've got my little identifiers so I know which one's which. So all I'm going to do is take my little sponge dauber, and this is literally a makeup sponge, and I've just put a crocodile binder clip on it. Make sure it's nice and juicy, and I'm going to start with circular motions and just start adding colour. And I love this technique because you never get the same look ever. There we are. And you do need to work fairly quickly because you do want your inks to blend. So just circular motions, applying the colour and working them blends into each other. Let's do some down here as well. And it is a messy project. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I mean, I make it messy anyway. There we are, and then I've left two little spaces. Looks like I need to get a re-inker for my Daffodil Delight. There we are. That's that bit. And you can layer by layer as well with the colours. And try and make sure that they're all nicely blended together. There we are. And how easy is that to make the background? I'm just going to pop some more of the orange there. It's not quite how as block colour as the rest of them. There we are. It's so simple, and yet it gives you such a nice effect. And now all of my things won't go into the hole. So I'm just going to pop that off to the side for 1 sec, just to let it dry. And while that's doing that, we'll move them out of our way. I'm going to bring in the sentiment from the stamp set that I've chosen, which is do something creative every day. I think that's so sweet, and obviously I'm gifting the Versamark ink, so I just thought it was appropriate. So I've got that one. Let's mount that up. I bet there's people screaming now because of all of this mess. Oh, got ink all over that. Perfect. And I'm just going to grab again a little bit of Whisper White. There we go. Actually, let's go with this one. It's a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to take my black. So you can use basic black, but I've just got Memento ink to hand. So twisting and tapping, covering that nice stamp. Pop that in on there. Lovely. And let me have a look. Where have I put that? Oh, it's there. I've also got some more of the Daffodil Delight. So, using the Everyday Labels punch, I'm going to punch this one out. Trying to line it up. Oh, in the middle. Chomp it out. And then again on this one. Oh. Set that off to the side. I'm going to show you a trick now. So they're the same size, but in order to get the little tabs either side, all you need to do, take the coloured block one, cut it in half. That simple. Take some fast fuse or something sticky, run it down the edge, making sure that it's both sides the same, so you've got the same pattern. And then I like to line them up. I like to pop my fingers on the two sharp points and push it down so I know I've got a nice straight edge. Same again on this one. So fingers on the points, lining it up so it look like I've got the same amount either side, and squish it down, and that is your banner. And obviously you can adjust it to whatever size. You can make it shorter, smaller, that's the same thing, Ali, smaller or longer, depending how you want to do it. So give this a clean, and I'm going to have to move paper because it's going to annoy me as well when I come back later to watch this. Let's clear this out of the way and we should be able to get started assembling the whole box. So bring that in, and I've got my 2 layers. So yeah, I like how that's turned out. If you did want to as well, you could take some tissue paper and just blot it off, and that would give you the very, very bright white. But I quite like how muted that is a little bit. So fast fuse again, lining it up onto my layer. Oh, and then again a bit more fast fuse on the back of the colour. Bringing that in. And what's great about this as well, there's no front or back to the design, and there's no front or back to the box because of how we've made it, until we now put this on and we pop our label on. So I'm just going to take some Stampin dimensionals, if I can get them. I'm going to place 2 on there, but I'm not going to take the stickiness off yet. I'm then going to take the silver metallic edge ribbon. It's gorgeous. So both sides, it hasn't got a front, it hasn't got a back. And I'm just going to take some of that around. I'm just going to line them up together and create a nice sharp point with my snips. Then here goes nothing. We're going to tie a bow. And full of cold as well, like most people over the holidays. Oh, not too bad, that bow there. Yeah, I'm fairly impressed with that one. I'll give them a snip. And then on this particular, on the first one I did, the bow is at the bottom, but I'm going to see what it looks like at the top this time. Let's have a look. No, I do like it at the bottom. I definitely like it at the bottom. Oh, I meant the bow at the bottom, just to clarify. There we go. Let's take them off. And the Stampin' Dimensionals, I'm just going to pop either side of the ribbon, making sure that the label is straight. And there we have it. So let me bring this one back in. See if I can tie another bow on camera. I'm really testing myself today, aren't I? And this one's already been cut, so this is going to be even more difficult. Oh, I'm doing good today with bows. It's a little bit smaller. But there you have it. And again, 2 same processes, but 2 different style backgrounds for the box. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you want to head over to collinsandcocrafts.com and you'll find all of the instructions for everything that you can see in this tutorial, and a few more of the projects that I've done as well with the design team. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you have a lovely holiday. Bye.